Have you ever stayed longer than you should have?
Oh man, we're going there.
Yes, we are
Yes, we are
going
there.
there.
Definitely, I think so. I would say honestly, most of my relationships that was the case. Um, yeah, I mean, even the smaller ones, like the ones I had in college, to say the least, where I never was really that interested in the person. I knew they weren't going to be my person,
Mm.
but it's just like, I'd rather be dating someone than be single. I'd rather have someone to go to dinners with and have fun with and go to parties with than be single. And so the convenience of having someone to cuddle at night or, have fun with on weekends, whatever it is, superseded whatever my gut was telling me felt right or wrong in those moments. I felt as if the consequences of staying weren't that big in those moments for me. There were other moments. It got to the point where I'm like, all right, this is a little bit too painful. This gut
Mm.
feeling is getting louder and louder. I need to finally listen to it. That actually make me finally break up with them. The one that really sticks out in particular, though, is this can go into a long story. Is the girl I dated before you, and that was a whirlwind. And it taught me so much about human nature. It taught me so much about myself, about other people. And thankfully, I look upon it now with an immense amount of compassion, empathy, and just understanding for everything that took place. But basically, what happened was I was in this stage of life where I was still in college. And this is like the peak of me working, 50 plus hours a week at this job, along with doing school full time. I was making really good money for someone my age and was getting all the social recognition that at that time, what 20, 21-year-old could ever ask for. And this girl kind of plopped into my life that I met off Hinge, off a dating app, that just had a profound perspective on life, definitely a free spirit. And there's a part of me that always wanted to live that way and be that way. I just didn't have the courage to do so. And so she thankfully, what I would say is held my hand through a part of life that I just wasn't familiar with prior. I never thought I'd allow myself to live. One in which she traveled all the time. She was a nomad everywhere. She had her own online business. It did very well. And these were all things that I knew were possible, but again, I didn't really feel as if I was capable of doing. That, along with just had more life experience, she'd been through more. And there comes a level of wisdom through that I deeply wanted to understand better. And that, along with just really got along, made us really connect fast. And it led to a lot of ups and downs, but there was a pivotal moment that took place where she had moved into my college apartment, which I had her move in without asking permission from my roommates, which is not something I recommend. Lesson learned about, being afraid of having direct conversations. I was not really able to have those direct conversations back then as I would be able to now. And started this whole thing. But we got very closely. We started living together, a handful of months in, and living out of my college apartment. So a very small room, and you should live with the college buddy. It's a very unique lifestyle there. And then I knew at this time that even before meeting her, and she had been to Bali, Indonesia beforehand. She lived there for a little bit. I already knew I wanted to go there. And so we're both adamant. And even though she had her own plans, she had travel plans for the next 6 months planned. So I knew that we wouldn't go there together. I knew that we both end up in Bali. And so knowing that I had someone to go with and kind of share this newfound experience with, of me taking this huge risk of leaving my job, leaving kind of the community I had there in Reno, and everything else that came along with the lifestyle that I knew and built for the past, at that time, 20, 21 years of my life, knowing that I'd kind of leave all that to go to a third world country, not knowing exactly how I'm going to make money or what life would be like. It made me feel so much more at ease knowing that I had someone that would be meeting me there a handful of months down the line, so that I had some source of familiarity. And we got to know each other very fast, and I would say that I definitely fell in love with her. It was someone who I had a really deep relationship with. And then I get to Bali, and shit kind of hit the fan. Not just with her, but in my life. I was not prepared because I had never been out of the country before. I was not prepared to be thrown into a third world country. it is a complete different animal if you're not ready for it. And doing so alone, with no path, with no one, no one there to help you, and just I was completely lost. I still feel like I was a child or teenager at heart there, and I wasn't mature enough to really find my way and stay grounded. And it was very difficult. And then my first 24 hours in, I got into a pretty ugly, pretty bad. I guess I don't want to call it surfing accident, but yeah, a body surfing accident where I hit up against this boulder that created this huge gash on like my stomach, hip area. And I was rushed to the hospital. Thankfully, everything's all good. And that's a whole story in itself. I'd maybe tell them at a different time, which is wild. I don't know how they were able to do what they did. But anyways, that kind of debilitated me for a handful of months. I didn't call home and tell them about it. I kept it a secret because...
Why?
Because that's one of their biggest fears. You know, whether it's my parent, just like any other parent or friends or family, knowing that their loved one moved to a third world country and then immediately gets like injured and pretty badly injured is their worst case scenario. I didn't want anyone flying out and like, try to bring me back to the States, whatever it was. Thankfully, everything worked out perfectly, and I got the medical attention I needed, despite it being kind of a very lucky experience that was able to happen the way it did. But yeah, it was to the point where I couldn't sit comfortably. I can either be laying or standing, and it's very hard to be in the mood to travel and explore when you can't even sit in a car, or in that case, a moped, for that long without like this excruciating pain. That, along with just the pain of having an open wound, is not something great. And so I spent a lot of my time in my little shack that I had rented for a month to month. And as I'm sitting there, as I'm in my little shack, I get a call from this ex-girlfriend, at the time my girlfriend, who at that time had been traveling through South America. She called me and said, long story short, she said, last night I got drunk and cheated on you. I slept with their man. And immediately, this being the first time this has happened to me, this being the first person that, up until meeting you, this is the deepest love I've ever felt for someone else. And not only that, but I felt as if the one person that I was waiting on coming there with me to show, in this very literally painful moment, a sign of normalcy and a sign of safety. I can rely on someone else, because I knew no one there. Having her do something like that completely shocked me, and it really felt like a broken heart. And the only pain that I know similar to that is when I've had family members and friends pass away. It felt eerily similar to even that extreme. And that was just incredibly hard. Thank you all for watching the last video. If you want to watch another one, you can click here, or somewhere over here. That's it for today. Sending much love your way.